Welcome to KDKP Noire. I'm K Noire, and we are so happy to have everyone back with us. If this is your first time here, again, welcome. Be sure to like, click, and subscribe. Again, I just want to let everybody know it's not about all that for me. I just love doing what I do, and it is one of the joys of each day. So I try to bring you the positive things in K-drama and K-pop, how they merge between the two, and sometimes just what's happening in the industry, period. So let's get started. This week at KDKP Noire, we are talking Danielle's response to the bunnies about her exit. We're also talking the lawsuit that was filed by Min Hee Jin and the film company Dolphinas regarding the posting of the video ETA from New Jeans. So this is a continuing saga we continue to see. And we're talking BoA. We've got the Zero Base One crew. We have 4 members that have decided to exit as well too. And we're talking EJ and K-pop Demon Hunters, how they're dominating the awards so far. And last but not least, we're talking BTS and their comeback tour that's going to be emerging. So lots to cover here. Danielle put out a message to the New Jeans fan base called Bunnies, letting them know pretty much that, how she was doing, what was going on. She talked about the lawsuit a little bit, but not exactly, which is all legally compliant. And she basically said that, she really hated that she had to exit. She fought to stay with the group until the end. She really missed everybody. She was focusing on what she needed to do. Yes, this is a difficult time for her and her family, but she was going to continue to, try to be the best that she could be. She did this on her private account. Now, some people said, well, how did that private account get there and so forth and so on? Well, the private account had been established way before time. It wasn't like she just did it like instantly new. This had been established for a while. So she had, decided this was the format, this was the platform in which she was going to deliver this message, and which she did. And some people were happy about it. Some people were not. They were basically saying, hey, I don't understand how she continues to get away with this. She's no longer a member of New Jeans. There were some people who were cheering her on and said, thank you for letting us know. But the one thing that most people and most fans wanted was to hear more about what this lawsuit was going to ensue for her family. Adore announced last week that Danielle would be exiting and that they were pursuing a $30 million lawsuit, and this is in US dollars, against her and her family. Now, that encapsulation of her family kind of, included her parents, who were there, allegedly seeking advice from Min Hee Jin, allegedly. And then that also included her sister as well, too, who was allegedly speaking out on Danielle's behalf regarding her exit from New Jeans or her individual activities. And Danielle for allegedly going into another contract with another vendor while she was still in this contract. So it's kind of messy. It would be great, if she did come out on top. I personally think that fandom, the fan base, it could go either way with this. I think they support her no matter what, but I think it is kind of exhausting to the fans as well, too, because they have seen this whole, narrative play out for an entire year with New Jeans and its members individually and collectively. So it's kind of, one of those things where you're like, oh gosh, another lawsuit. Oh my gosh. But this time, this really is her thing. It's not really part of the whole New Jeans narrative anymore because she is, no longer a member. So it does leave a little bit to, the imagination, what it's going to be, what's the outcome going to be, how it's going to work out. We've seen that previously that the courts have sided with Adore because of how the contract disputes were, how they were laid out, how the contract basically says that they couldn't just up and leave the way that they did. So it'll be interesting to see what the final outcome of this will be. We have no news currently right now on Minji. They're having discussions with her. and which leaves it open that she may continue to be with the group. The others are still there. So, we don't know. Now, with regards to the other pending lawsuit that was out there was a lawsuit with Dolphinus. Now, Dolphinus is this, production company, this movie film company that posted a version of the ETA video. It was their version of the ETA video that they had edited, but Adora said, no, you can't do that. That's unauthorized. We still own that. We own the content. We own New Jeans as the collective group. So any kind of, action that anybody else does with that, something we can sue for. And they did. And the courts decided with Adore that they were in the right here, that Dolphina should not have posted that content. Now, allegedly, this content and everything was done at the direction of Minhee Jin. So that's another situation in which she was involved in and gave direction with, as she felt like she could because, she was over them at the time. It's all unclear, but at the end of the day, right here with this storyline, the courts have decided to go with, Adore. Now, the other thing that we got was Zero Base One, and four of their members have decided to leave, including the leader Zhang Hao, which leaves a lot of people in speculation as to what occurs with them next. And so we knew their contract was up for renewal. They were debating back and forth if they would re-sign with the company, Wake One. And most of the members did. Some of the members didn't, as you can see. And four of them, and like I said, are leaving. So with Zhang Hao, the leader, exiting the group, where does that leave them at? He is an extreme talent, as you know, that you've seen on the show and what he's brought to the group. Vocally, musically, just his insight in general, it's just really great. One of their songs that they put out first, the In Bloom, was one of my favorite songs. I always tell everybody it's one of the most beautiful songs in K-pop. And I say that because the visuals in the video, how it was done, and it's just beautiful. And I could, in my mind, I see that song in a K-drama at some point. It's just one of those things that I think would match perfectly. Or that people are talking about leaving is Ricky. Now, I like to call him affectionately Pretty Ricky, because if you looked at any of their footage, anything that they've done where they've shown them personally, Ricky is an avid basketball player. He spent a lot of time here in the US. He speaks fluent English. He just does like so many. He's the fashion guru of the group. You don't see him where he's ever out of character. And I think for him, this is going to open up a lot of opportunities for him. He is an extreme talent as well. I think he could go into acting. You'll see that a lot of these guys that are showing that they are leaving have the ability to be able to merge into an acting or another individual's solo experience musically if they chose to. Excited to see if the others will continue on and what they will do. Much, much success to them. The other thing people are talking about, things that probably puts a halt to K-pop in general, because BoA, who is or was formerly of SM Entertainment, she was one of their first artists, has decided to not renew her contract after 25 years with the company. Now, that's a huge, huge, huge announcement in the K-pop industry, because BoA is a legend. If you don't know anything about her, you probably need to know something about her. She literally started in the industry when she was like maybe 11 or 12 years old. Started doing her own tours in Japan and in China and these other areas. Even here in the States, she came here as well to with SM. She's done acting, she's done singing, she's done dancing. At one point, people were comparing her visuals and images that she had in her video to that of entertainer Janet Jackson and people like Britney Spears, of how they come forth in the videos and they dance, they sing, they really are what we call entertainers in the industry. And it's a huge, huge marking SM's history. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually plays out because Boa, like I said, she's an extreme talent. She could probably go and do whatever she wanted to do. But I think there's a lot to be said with her relationship with SM and how she's continued to carry that over the past 25 years. Kudos to her. Kudos to SM. For those of you who don't know a lot about SM, I'm going to do a video on them later, but I think they are, the industry, standard for a lot of what we see in K-pop today. And SM is known for great singers, great dancers, great actors. They have a lot of people that are on their label who not only still sing or in a group with them, K-pop wise, but they're doing K-dramas as well, C-dramas as well. So they're doing a lot in this industry, entertainment industry that you may see. Now, the other thing that we're talking about here is EJ and the song Golden, as well as K-pop Demon Hunters, the movie itself. There are records that are being set every single day. There are, awards being won at each award show. They have won Best Original Soundtrack. They have won Best Animated Feature for K-pop Demon Hunters. This movie is doing so great here in award season. And, they won Original Soundtrack at the Critics' Choice Awards, which is where, your peers get to vote for you, saying what they like. They won for Best Original Soundtrack at the Golden Globes. And they also won for Best Animated Movie at the Golden Globes. K-pop Demon Hunters did. Now, what we were all talking about was EJ's speech. She talked about how she wrote that song and where she was at that time in her life when she was writing the song Golden, how it became an inspiration to everybody, something unexpected for her. And last but not least on our list, we're talking one of the biggest comebacks in K-pop history. BTS has announced that they will do their comeback tour starting in March of this year. Now that's huge for the ARMY fans and fandom themselves, but this is huge just for K-pop in general. Everybody is excited to see them, but I think the industry and some of the fans are saying, can they come back the same way they left? Now, some people say, maybe, maybe not, because the industry has changed, but I beg to differ. We've seen EXO come back, we've seen Monster X come back, and there is something cycling with, the Girls' Generation member that left Girls' Generation, Miss Jung herself. Again, I think you can honestly say that if the fan base is still there, they can still come back. I just recently saw an interview with Key from SHINee. Love that, because he's coming out, with his own solo album. He's also doing a tour here in the States, which a lot of people were a little shocked, but I was shocked to hear it. This is the first time he's been in the States touring. So, and SHINee is a K-pop legendary group. So we're excited to see that. And also Minho is continuing to do his thing musically as well as his whole little acting chops too. Great acting in a lot of movies, so anybody can make a comeback at this point. BTS definitely can make that comeback, and we're excited to see them. But this has been our week in K-pop at KDKP Noire, and I'm K Noire. So thank you so much for joining us. Until next time.